Am I a Linux elitist? This is a question I often get, and so I think we should address it. I think this is an interesting topic, and many people got me all messed up about Linux and my views on certain projects and this, that, and the other, and I just want to address them. I just want to take a couple of minutes of your time and just clear the air so that maybe people will actually get where I'm coming from. And why am I making this video? I'm making this video because I publish videos sometimes and people will give me a dislike, and I don't care if you don't like my content. That's your prerogative. It's your right. I don't care. I won't tell you what to do. If you want to give me a thumbs down, feel free to do it. But here's the thing. You know, it's kind of interesting that a lot of people, they misconstrued some of my previous videos and things like that because they don't take the time to actually watch my videos, and so they don't get a good feel for what I'm about. So there are a few projects that I absolutely hate, but there's actually only one. There's one project and one app that I absolutely hate in the Linux world. The first one is the Gnome project. So the Gnome project, or the Gnome Foundation, they have these developers who are a little different, okay? They can't take criticism, they can't, I mean, seriously, like, they're such snowflakes that it just boggles my mind how they get anything done. Are they good developers? I think they're better than average. I don't think they are great developers, if you ask me. But they have some cool technologies, and some I would be willing to check out on this channel. That's something you'd like. Leave me a comment in the section below. My main problem with the Gnome Foundation is that they gatekeep unnecessarily from people who would otherwise contribute, and it's kind of sad because sometimes, you know, there would be really big contributions to the Gnome Foundation and people just don't want to accept that there are issues sometimes, and when someone's having an issue and they take the time out of their hands to write a bug report, they shouldn't get berated. That's the only thing I'm saying, okay? And that actually happened to me. It's happened to a lot of other people. So I don't really like the Gnome Foundation. I really dislike them. Do I hate them? Hate's a pretty strong word, but I'm not a Gnome user. I haven't used the Gnome desktop since Gnome 2, and frankly, it's kind of out of a protest because I have to say I hated Gnome 3, and every time I look at Gnome 40 or whatever it is now, or any other Gnome-based desktop, I see the big middle finger that the Gnome Foundation stuck to its users, you know, regarding Gnome 2. They could have passed that project off to someone else. Now, Mate is not the same, and I don't like Mate, but I did like Gnome 2. Just like I like KDE 3.5. I didn't like KDE 4, but then they came back, and KDE 5 or Plasma was great, and Plasma 6 is even better, and that just takes me back to my point. Maybe I should quit having such hard feelings about the Gnome Foundation, but my experiences with their developers have ruined it a lot for me. Now, there's an app. It's a text editor that's pretty much default with almost every Linux distribution, and I hate this text editor. It's called Nano. It's the worst. It's just absolutely just terrible, and I just don't think you should use it. It's just counterintuitive to any self-respecting Vim user, and so I just don't like it. Now, I make videos, and yes, I make some, you know, clickbait and stuff like that, like everyone else. Here's the thing. Do I hate Manjaro, for example, or OpenSUSE? Not really. I'm gonna come clean. I'm going to just set the record straight. Let's talk about Manjaro. My thing is, do I hate it in the fact that I would tell someone if they're using Manjaro not to use it? No. And I think actually someone could have a good experience using Manjaro, even though you probably see this video and you're like, well, what are you talking about? So why do I say that Manjaro shouldn't exist? Well, their claim to fame is basically being more stable than Arch or its derivatives. That's their claim to fame. However, I found the exact opposite to be true. There are all these Linux derivatives, so why does Manjaro need to exist? That just, I don't get it, okay? And I don't get the whole thing with Manjaro, and coupled with the fact that I used to be a maintainer of a couple of packages in the AUR, I literally had to recompile and update my packages twice as often as any other Linux distros, including Arch Linux. Something was always breaking, and I just wonder, why should it even exist? Now, if you're an Arch user, I strongly suggest you use Flatpaks over the AUR. If I'm being perfectly honest, if you actually need to use, a sandbox environment or even app images, I'm not so crazy on snap packs because, well, that just basically roots your whole computer, and it just makes your computer kind of slow. So I'm not a big fan of snaps, but I don't hate them either. Like, some people are really extremists. They're like, I don't like Ubuntu, I hate snaps, I hate that. I'm not that person. Now let's get to OpenSUSE. Now I've talked about OpenSUSE. So if you want me to actually take a look at Manjaro or OpenSUSE, I'd be more than willing to take a look and even try and live in it in a virtual machine. I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. And I would be willing to be proven wrong about my dislike for these things. But again, this is my experience that is talking. Let's talk about this for a minute, okay? The Gnome Foundation, they are notorious for being elitist, okay? The developers there, they are acting like anyone who contributes, that they're doing that person a favor by letting them contribute. It's their attitude. I used Arch Linux for 10 years. I never got RTFM'd, ever. I have a few threads in the Arch Wiki. I never got RTFM'd, ever, not once. And there are a lot of people who maybe they can't relate with this, but the simple fact of the matter is I don't think most people want to get RTFM'd. A lot of times, like in the Arch Wiki, for example, I have a few threads in there, and maybe I was trying to do something. Like once I was trying to deal with my dual graphics card. I just wanted it to basically run my NVIDIA card. I didn't even care if it switched. I didn't want it to switch. I wanted it to use my NVIDIA graphics card. And so I had a hard time getting it to read my NVIDIA graphics card. And so it was a challenge. And I have to say that it took me about a week to figure it out, because I went to the people over at NVIDIA and they're like, well, you should just be using Ubuntu. It'd be so easy to set this up. Kind of funny, right? And then there are a lot of other people who, they were looking, they see all the steps I've tried and everything else, and they see that I made a genuine effort to solve the problem, to investigate what is the nature of the problem. and no one ever RTFM'd me. No one. So there's this perception that I hate Ubuntu, and I know where it comes from. I have a lot of derogatory comments about Ubuntu, and I don't apologize for them one bit. I really don't like the project anymore. I don't like what it's become. And, you know, when they went with the GNOME desktop over Unity, that was it for me. It was like, okay, I see where this is going. There are a couple others like Macintosh. I hate Macintosh, but I have a legitimate right to hate Macintosh. The thing with iTunes cost me and my dad a lot of money in CDs because we had all of our collection uploaded on there, and because the terms of service were different at the time. And now they just removed them because they didn't come from the Play Store. When things like that happen, I have a legitimate complaint, I have a legitimate gripe, and I made a video about it. So these are a few things, a few reasons why people think that I must be some Linux elitist, but if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm really not that much of an elitist. I have some terminal kung fu experience, and I can usually solve just about any problem in front of me. Case in point, I'm using Aurora Linux, and I'm going to have to compile the Arian webcam from source inside of my Fedora, and so it's going to be like a Copr package, right? Nothing too drastic. So am I an elitist or an extremist? Yeah, I have opinions, God forbid, but am I an extremist? Am I trying to get you to believe what I'm believing? No. If you watch my video and you say, Shaston, like, this just doesn't jive with me, or this doesn't ring true, do I go over there and just, you know, launch a bunch of ad hominem attacks? The only time I ever launch any ad hominem attacks towards a person's character is when they're doing the same to me. You can look in my comments of any video, you'll see that anytime, you know, someone launches ad hominem attacks, it's usually the other person who started it. And I let it go and I let it go until finally I'm like, okay, you know what? This is kind of where you get off. That's it. I'm not elitist. I'm not extremist, because I'm not trying to get you to believe what I believe about Linux. So I get called an extremist quite a bit, and that's fine. You can call me an extremist. I don't really care. It's not like I care about what the Gnome Foundation does. It's not like I care about what OpenSUSE does or Manjaro. I make fun videos. I make videos fun for people, and you know what? I make fun of them, and I'm actually wanting to go into a different direction and make different kinds of videos I think people will like as well. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Anyway, you know the drill. If you really like this video, you'll probably like my last video, or you could binge watch my stuff. So anyway, take care, nerds. Bye.